Today is Saturday, November 14th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about stolen prophecy, how a lot of people take biblical prophecy and they try to pass it off as their own. And one of the big signs of end times, and this is prophecy by Jesus Christ himself, and I believe it has come to fruition, time is moving more quickly. What Jesus said specifically is that in the end, the days will be shortened. But think about what that means. If a day is shorter than it used to be, that's the same thing as time moving more quickly. And so this is just a post I saw today. People can tell. People can tell that time is moving more quickly. This person is a professional musician, age 65, and they remember how it used to be. So you can pause and read it if you want. One thing I wanted to show is that there's always going to be people in the comments telling these people that they're crazy, but look at their usernames. So this is somebody coming out of the woodworks. Oh, your perception of the passage of time changes as you age. Okay, duh. Everybody understands that. But the phenomenon of time moving more quickly, it's so much more than that. It's not just because we're older. It's that time is actually moving more quickly. And I think everybody should be able to, anybody who can just admit the way that things used to be. I get comments all the time of people saying that they hear young people talking about this too. Young people are noticing that time is moving more quickly. But look at this person's username, Ouroboros. So one of those people. Another person coming out of the woodwork is a Trekkie. And I like this person. Also, go have a checkup. This person, they'll have these backhanded, they'll try to pretend like they're friendly, but then they're telling you to go see a doctor. This is exactly like people, you got to go see a doctor because you're noticing that time is moving more quickly. So another shill, Raptor. I see this person's comments all the time in this subreddit, the 5-pointed star, and they're always talking about outer space stuff. It's like these shills get paid for talking about dimension shifting and outer space. But there's a lot of people out there, we can feel that time is moving more quickly. I think it's something that is just, it's understood. It's like how the sun is brighter and the moon is brighter. There's no arguing it. Matthew chapter 24, verses 22 to 24. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And this video is about false prophets and people who take biblical prophecy and try to pass it off as their own. And yeah, this is just, I still don't see people bringing this up. I'll see people talk sometimes about how time is moving more quickly. Everybody should know that Jesus Christ himself gave us that prophecy. And so it should have even more weight than, I see people talk about time moving more quickly, and I have to be the one that says, this is biblical prophecy from Jesus Christ himself. And everybody should know that. It should just be a known thing. So one thing that I didn't state in my last comment or my last video about the sky being lower, the sky being lower could be involved with time moving more quickly. Some people have just brought up the idea of it's almost like water going down a drain, like circling lower and lower and faster. And another thing I didn't bring up in my sky being lower video, it kind of does seem like the sun is lower in the sky. Now, I would have to just hear from people who have lived in the same place their whole life, because I've moved north, so of course the sun is going to get lower in the sky, so it's hard to say. But it almost does seem like the sun is hardly directly above head ever, like it used to be. But again, I've changed locations. People who have lived in the same place for a long time will have to let me know what they think. Okay, so getting on to the main point of this video, there are many other religions or groups of people that they have their own prophecies, but it's just biblical prophecy. It's nothing new. In Islam, there's quite a few overlap in Islam. One of the signs of the hour is that time will pass more quickly. And I think it's so strange and so phony how every time in Islam. So Jesus Christ told us that vain repetitions are not what we're supposed to do. Jesus also told us that we're not supposed to pray in the open. People that are Islamic love praying in the open and praying on the corners of streets and making a big to do about it. If they're around people, they love to be like, "Oh, excuse me, I got to go pray." And they'll like go pray in front of everybody. It's really awkward. But it also this thing like every time they say the prophet, they have these little sayings that they have to say. Prayer, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And then they say it again down here, peace and blessings of Allah. They're like robots. Anyways, Jesus told us not to pray like that. The hour will not begin until knowledge is taken away. Interesting. Earthquakes increase, time passes quickly, tribulations appear, and there's a lot of haraj, which is killing, and until there will be a lot of wealth among you, and it will become abundant. The hour will not begin until time passes quickly, so a year will be like a month will be like a week, and a week will be like a day, and a day will be like an hour, and an hour will be like the burning of a braid of palm leaves. So here's some more stuff, signs of the Islamic end times. Angelic involvement. I mean, I guess it's kind of a known thing that Islam is connected to Christianity. Is people that are in Islam, they love to say, oh, well, Jesus is a prophet in Islam. Okay, but that doesn't make sense. You can't demote Jesus to a mere prophet because Jesus himself clearly exclaimed or explained, whatever. Clearly, Jesus made it clear that he is the Messiah. So that's contradictory to put Jesus as a mere prophet in your religion. That's just contradictory because Jesus himself explained that he is the Messiah. So, I just wanted to show here that they're showing that it's biblical from the Bible. They're talking about Isaiah and Matthew and Luke in this Islam thing. Moral degradation is a sign of end times in Islam. I thought this was really interesting. Islamists say the world is ending when men look like women. And yeah, if you've watched a lot of my videos, you know what I think about that. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. I believe it is part of Islam too that in the end, that women will greatly outnumber the men. I couldn't find it right now, but I think it is a thing. Now on to just one more. This is a strange one, but Hopi. The Hopi people are talked about a lot when it comes to end times. And look at this, is very interesting about power. This is what our power plants are. This is a power plant. It has nothing to do with, look, they say that this is supposed to be, I don't know. I don't know what they're saying is generating the power, but like this is the part that generates the power. And anyways, part of the Robert Moses, interesting, Moses, middle or last name, I guess, Niagara Power Plant in Lewiston, New York. So Niagara, they'll tell you that these things are like hydro electricity, but this is the part that's making the electricity and storing it and doing all that. The hydro, the big dam, is probably just a cover. Prophecies like the land will be crossed by snakes of iron. Okay. In Hopi teachings, we are told that toward the end of the world, Spider Woman will come back and she will weave her web across the landscape. I'm guessing that power lines. And way back when, I think that the tribal people probably, there was a big reset, it seems, like in the Victorian era. It seems like they just did a reset of some sort. Maybe like a military reset. Maybe they did just go around and wipe all the natural people out. I don't know. But it seems like the native people were given certain hidden knowledge. And I think the native people probably were told, oh yeah, there's electricity in the air and we're going to build power lines all over the place and utilize all the electricity in the air. So that's where the Spider Woman thing is. Pretty crazy. And this is the ninth and last sign. You will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. And, well, this is taken straight from the Bible, Revelation chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. So you can see that they're taking this straight from the Bible, talking about a dwelling place coming from the heavens above. Here's more Hopi stuff. Now we think that when the end comes, the earth will be destroyed by fire. Well, here's even in the Old Testament. So this isn't the only instance. There's more than one instance in the Bible talking about how the earth was cleansed once already with water. And that's a thing where basically everybody out there who has like historical, what do you call it? Like mythological stories about the past, they almost all have stories of a great flood. And it's because it really did happen. The great flood really did happen. And I bet that they almost all have stories about a cleansing with fire. And that's going to happen, and it's biblical. Malachi chapter 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Praise Jesus, and come quickly, Jesus. Luke chapter 12, verses 49 through 53. I'm come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? So things are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse up until that very last day, the day of harvest. And that's why things are getting so bad, because we're almost at the end. But I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how I am straitened till it be accomplished. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, etc. I bring up that verse a lot, so. Look at this. This is going back to the Hopi person. He also predicted the destruction of the environment, famines, and war. The Bible talks about all those things. One of his predictions, Okay, one of his predictions even seems to predict the destruction of the ozone layer. So then they proceeded on their journey, but a knock on far when they stopped. Then the messenger said, Watch, and pointed to a certain spot toward the setting sun. So he watched and saw a large object revolving. It was white and moving slowly. They're probably talking about the firmament. Then said the 4 messengers, What did you see? He answered, I saw a large object revolving. It was white and moving slowly. Then said the messengers, It is true, the thing that which regulates the air over the earth. They're talking about the firmament. It is that which we call the Odio, the veil over all. It is said that it would bring great calamity should it revolve too fast. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe the sun and the moon cycle has to do with how fast the firmament might revolve around us. I honestly do not know, and that's okay to not know exactly how all these things work, but I'll just say that people have been talking a lot about the magnetic field going crazy, and that could be connected to the firmament. And also the sun has been strange, and of course we know that the moon is super bright. Anyways, there are things going on in the heavens. Let me just read this. Oh, here's more prophecy that they stole. Hailstones the size of half bushels would fall on a certain day, and when that day came, they all fled to the nearby hills and hid themselves in caves or under stones. Well, Revelation chapter 16, verse 21, And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. I think, I've said this a few times, but I forget to say it a lot. I think that when the heavens open up and things start falling from the sky starts to fall, and possibly part of this with the great hailstones. I think that they're gonna say that the alien invaders are like bombarding us with asteroids or something. I think that that's what they're gonna say. That, oh, the aliens are redirecting meteors from the asteroid belt and launching them at us. Because they have to play that alien angle. They've painted themselves into a corner. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 10 through 22. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of man shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon every one that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. and upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and upon all the oaks of Bashan, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, and upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all pleasant pictures. And the loftiness of man shall be bowed down. Yep. And the haughtiness of man shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day, and the idols he shall utterly abolish. So here we go. We're getting there. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth, for fear of the Lord, and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. In that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go into the clefts of the rocks, and into the tops of the ragged rocks, for fear of the Lord, and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Seize ye for man who breathed in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? And so here we have, again, biblical prophecy being ripped, and these fake Indians are just claiming it for their own. So yeah, there's something about the Hopi. The Hopi are a big thing when it comes to end times prophecy for some reason. And they talk about time moving more quickly. Time is going to go so fast. Jesus is the only way to the Father. John chapter 14, verse 6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to show that there's a lot of biblical prophecy out there that people don't know that it's biblical prophecy. And probably the biggest one, whenever anybody talks about time moving more quickly, it needs to be brought up that Jesus Christ himself is the one who told us about that prophecy. And because I just see, a lot of times I see people bring up these other prophecies, and it's like, that's just ripped straight from the Bible. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everyone.